guys, for today's mock coding interview, we have with us Kushal Vijay, who is STE at Microsoft and a YouTuber with 29k plus subs. So today's question is very interesting. It looks like a very simple string question, but it actually comes under hard difficulty level. And I highly appreciate Kushal's attitude because he himself agrees that he could have done better in the interview and he is still ready to upload it on YouTube, which shows his attitude, right? And I hope you all can also see that. But in general, I really feel that the interview is very interesting and it can be really helpful because first thing is that to identify which data structure to use for this question. And then after that also we have discussed what all edge cases should we consider, what all things should we talk about during the interview, how should we direct the interview and how we can save time during the interview and what all should we discuss and how it should happen. So without any further delay, let's get started. But before that, let me just quickly tell you about the sponsor of the video. Odin School is an upskilling platform that helps people launch, transform, and propel their careers in high growth domains. If you're a graduate looking for a career change, career growth, or career launch, you should check out this bootcamp. They have job-oriented 6 months data science bootcamp led by industry experts. They associate with 250 plus companies to help ensure that the curriculum is industry oriented. They work with them to help provide placement assistance to all students. The fees is 75k plus GST. You can also avail a scholarship of up to 15k based on your performance in the scholarship test. Flexible EMI option is also available. For more details, adding the links in the description, do check out their website. Here are some of the success stories of Odin grads like Naveen, Pranesh, Faviana, and many more. For more details, click the link in the description below. So Kushal, this is your question. Just go through it and let me know if you have any doubts.
Okay.
Do you want an example?
One second. Okay, fine. Yeah, example would be fine.
Okay. For example, if this is your input, then what will be the output according to you?
Okay, so we can only connect the strings whose last character and the subsequent strings first character is matching, right?
Right.
So I can connect the second and the third string, first and the last string. So it started really. Anyway, so I can connect the first and the last strings, and then I have two options for to be connected. I can connect the first and the fourth string. Then I have two options with which, no, I can only connect with the second string then the third string. So the pattern will be like 1, 4, 2, 3 to form, which can form a circle. Right. Am I audible?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so the output for this would be the first string, then the fourth string, then the third string, and then, no, one second, I missed it actually.
By the way,
Yep.
You don't have to tell me the order. You just have to tell me if it is possible or not. So
Okay,
you just
I just have to return a true boolean for that. Okay. Yeah, so if I can come. Yeah, so it will be true for this particular thing, where I can connect the first string with the fourth one. Then I can connect the second one with the fourth one, and then the third one, and then third one can be connected to the first one. So it will be like, if I denote it, I'm considering one base induction. So one first string can be connected to the fourth one, which can be connected to the second one, which can be connected to the third one. So eventually we can only connect the strings which has the last character matching with the first character of the first string of the subsequent string. So first and fourth can be connected. Then I have two options for this one, but if I consider the later operation to be connected, I cannot connect this string with this one directly, because then I have to miss. So I have one question here. Do I need to like take in all the strings to form the circle, or I can skip some of the strings also?
No, you have to take all the strings, but you can
All the strings.
start from any string. Like you could have started from fourth string also.
Okay. Okay. But that there could be any number of combinations, right? I just have to check whether there is any single combination that is there. Okay.
Yes. Like for this question also, there are multiple combinations possible.
Let me
you
check
just
it.
have to.
Yeah, further combination. Let's see. Okay. So three string, we have four. So it will be a permutation of four. Now I have three options. If I consider the first string as my, the first member of my circle, then I just have one option for it to, that is the fourth one. Else I cannot connect it with anyone. So this is one thing. Later, if I take 2 as my first string, then I have only the third string as an option to be connected after it. And if I take third string, then I have either first with the fourth string. I have. Now what I'm trying to do here is I'm recursively, if I can check if it's possible or not. Taking the second string.
Okay, can you share your approach with me? Like, what are you thinking?
What I'm trying to do here is I'm checking what are the possible cases for if I take for every particular string, if I'll consider one. So what could be the possible number of cases? What is the next string that I consider if I choose a particular string?
So as I said, you just have to return me true or false, right? So it's fine if you can't come, like we don't need to discuss all the combinations for the example. If you can discuss the approach of the solution, like as you were saying, you were trying to do that, right? So in terms of code, what will be your approach to solve the solution?
Okay. So eventually, if we consider only the first and the last character is something which matter to us, right? So I just need to care about two characters on the string. The length of the string doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So what can I do is, okay. Yeah. So what I believe, if, if I'll, can I get one more example for this? And I'll try to solve it with that approach.
Sure. So, okay, let me just paste the example quickly.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking if
Can you see? Yeah.
yep. So this
Hello. Yeah.
I'm thinking in two ways. One is the XOR approach where with the XOR of all the characters, XOR of all the first and the last characters is 0, then it probably say that we have all the required characters to get the strings connected, and we might the answer could be true or false accordingly. But
Okay,
I'm
what is the
thinking
second
where
approach?
the second approach is where if um, you know if I'll be able to remove all the characters from the string. That I need to get the arrangement first for that.
Okay, I have a question.
Mhm.
Whether you can form a cycle like a circle, so how will you know whether you can connect one particular string to another string? You were thinking about that, right? Connecting a
Yep.
string,
With
right?
the other string. So
Yeah. You just
we need
have to like check the first and the last characters,
last character. That's it, right?
right? So when you're connecting elements, what do you do? Which data structure do you use?
A linked list. Yeah. While connecting date, while connecting. Okay.
You could be connecting multiple strings to
Okay.
other multiple strings.
Multiple strings to other multiple strings.
Linked list is like
Okay.
you will
Okay.
be
Yeah.
able
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
connect.
Yeah. 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 So this could be a try where where this could be a try, but I don't think that would be any useful.
Okay.
Try could be used here on that. If I only
Let's
consider first. Yeah.
let's think of all the data structures one by one. Okay. Which other data structure do you think you can use?
So for handling strings, the data structure I can consider.
Don't think of just strings. Think of like you have to connect multiple things to multiple things. Now it can be anything. Which data structure do you use?
A graph. Exactly. Okay. Yeah. Okay. If I'll be able to, so basically what I'll do is I'll take the first and last character, connect both of them, and basically create a graph and then traverse over it. If there is a cycle, we are good. If not, we'll return false.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. This will
So
work actually. Yeah.
when will two nodes be connected in your graph?
Uh, when will two nodes be connected?
Like
So,
how are you going to form the graph?
so for example, we have the first and the second character. Uh, whatever the length of the string, I'll take the first and the last character and join them. So for example, if I'll take here, if I'll connect A with B, B with C, and C with A, and A with A is already there. So, and then I just have to traverse the whole graph and see if there is a cycle, existing cycle or not. And that would work. So what I'm trying to say here is, with this example, what I'll do, I'll connect. So I'll only take the first character and the second character. A is already connected to A, so it doesn't matter. B is already connected to B. B is also connected to A. I am considering only the first and the last character. B is connected to A. Then A is connected to B. Okay.
Now, why are you connecting only characters and not the strings themselves?
Because only the first and last character is something which is useful for us.
What is a node in your graph? Like a node is a string or is it a character?
It's a character, but now I'm finding there is a catch here, because if in case there are only two characters, there will be no cycle and I'll return false. In this case, the answer should be true. So I need to consider complete strings. If I consider as a string, if I consider A as a node and B as a node. Okay. Okay. So I'll consider each of my string as a node, and I'll first of all create a matrix of n cross n, and I'll fill that particular matrix, checking the last character and the first character of two strings at a time. If they are same, I'll connect that particular both those nodes. If not, I'll fill a 0 in that. And I have to check in both the ways: the first character of first string and second and last character of second string, and vice versa also, to check if the nodes are connected or not. So
I have a question.
Yes.
So you are using adjacency matrix. Why adjacency matrix and not adjacency list?
I mean, it's a data structure. I can use any of them actually. It's just that the traversal would be much more easier in adjacency list. But I mean, I generally prefer traversing in matrix. So like, I'm not specifying that I'll be using adjacency list or adjacency matrix. I'm just giving my approach that this is how I need to fill my matrix, whether it's a list or whether it's a matrix. Definitely matrix consumes more space than list, because list will consume less space. It will only include the connected nodes only. Matrix will also include matrix will also consume the space where there is no connection. So that will consume more space. That's true. So,
okay.
For example,
so you're saying matrix will take more space, but traversing it is easy. So you prefer matrix.
Traversing is similar in both the cases, just the difference of space consumption. That's it.
Okay. We can go ahead with whatever you are more comfortable with.
Sure. Okay. So,
after forming the graph, I understood how you're going to form the graph. Then you said you will check whether there's a cycle. Right? Any other condition will be there for you to return true or false, or just a cycle?
Okay. So for example, if all the strings are same, then in that case, if all the strings are same, like all the characters are same, then definitely the cycle will exist. But in our graph, it will be a single node only. So we will, I need to basically check. If
Okay,
my
1 second, sorry. So you are saying there will be a single node if there, okay, if there are like a string that is coming like 3 times in the array of strings that I've given you.
yeah, I want to
So
know if the strings are unique or they can be.
they can be different, they can be same also.
Okay.
So are you going to consider them as a single node or different nodes?
I'm going to consider it as a single node only, because eventually if all the strings are same, or if I'll take an example where two strings are same and others are different, it, yeah, it will not make any difference, because eventually I'll connect all the similar strings together and make it a bunch. So and consider it as one string only. So I will consider all the similar string as one string only.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes. Yes.
So, as we discussed earlier, we have to connect all the strings in the array in the circle,
Yes.
right? So, if you consider only one string, it's not important that, let me give you an example. Okay. Suppose the example is ABC. Okay. Then again, I have ABC. Again, I have ABC. Then I have CD. I have EFG. Okay. Now, these three ABC, you have like taken them as one node, right? So basically, you're ignoring the other two ABC, right?
Right.
Now you have connected ABC to CD. You have connected CDE to EGF, right? Yeah, or
Right.
EFG. So now, suppose there was GFA also. Now again, this
Yeah.
has formed a circle,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But this was the original array. Now in the new array, you just ignored the two
Okay.
ABCs.
So then it will cause a problem that we need to consider, because then it will not be considered in the cycle anyways. We cannot consider them in a cycle because ABC cannot be connected together.
Right.
So in such case, if I have to consider them differently, okay. If I have
What
to
is the
consider
problem in considering the like each
them,
element in an array as a node in the graph? What is the problem there?
there is no problem, but there, uh, so in that case, yeah, I will denote it with an index anyways. So it won't, it might not cause an, I need to check with an example. So
Sure.
let's take an example of, or maybe I should write it here so that it will be visible to you. So let's do it like this. So assuming that we have, let me remove for instance so that the string will be small enough. Cool. We have ABC, ABC. Now, if I'm trying to fill it, I'll check. I'm basically reducing the examples so that I can fill the matrix quickly.
Sure.
So if let's go to the first ABC and I check whether it can be connected to the other ABC. First of all, itself. So yes, definitely can be connected to itself, and I'll mark it as 0 because of the same string. Secondly, can it be connected with the other ABC? So no, not possible, because the last character and the first character does not match and the last one does not match. Can it be connected to CDG? Yes, it can be, because the last of it and the first of that, yes. Can it be connected to GFA? No. So if we have the, now if I, let's fill for another ABC. So it will be at index that, it will be 0 here, another 0, 1. CDG. CDG can be connected to ABC, no. CDG can be connected to ABC, no. CDG can be connected to, yes, it can be, but will fill 0. And yeah, it can connect this one. GFA can be connected to this one. Yes. GFA can be connected to CDG. Yes, it can be connected. These are matrix. Now I just have to check GFA is connected. Yes, it can be connected. This can, yep. So this is how the matrix will, the connection of the connections of nodes will look like. Now I just have to traverse the graph in order to check whether this particular graph has a cycle or not. So looking at it, so I'll follow that coloring approach basically to check whether there is a cycle existing cycle in the graph or not. ABC, so ABC can be connected to CDG. Another ABC is also connected to CDG. This is connected to GFA. This is also connected to GFA, and this is also. So there exists a cycle in this graph. Apparently, yes. And my answer would have been okay. Yes, the answer will be true for this particular example. Yeah. So I should consider every string as a separate index or a separate vertex, because if I'll not, it might return me wrong value for a particular case, for some cases. Yeah.
Coming to my question again. So you are checking for a cycle,
yes,
right? Any other condition other than there being a cycle present?
Okay. Any condition in which this could be false?
Like you have to check whether there's a circle of all the strings in the array. So what is your condition? So you have formed a graph now.
Yes.
So for a graph, you said you will check whether there is a cycle present.
Yes, exactly.
Will that return the answer to the question?
But I will also consider whether I'm actually covering all the nodes or not. It's not like in the matrix, if there is, if my graph has different components, multiple components, then the answer will always be false.
Right. So you're considering the length of the cycle also.
Length, yeah, exactly. We can either check it via length, or if there is a complete row which has no one in it or no connection, then also we will return false, because there is that particular node is not connected to any other.
Okay. So say you don't go with the length approach and you go with there being no connection. So if there is at least one single one present in each row, are you saying there will always be a solution?
No, that's not possible. For that, we are checking whether there is a cycle or not.
Right.
Okay. So either we have multiple components in the graph, disconnected components, then the answer is false. Or we don't have a cycle in the graph. If we have a single connected graph, we have to check for cycles. These are the two cases where we can have different answers.
There can be another case. Say there are like 5 strings, right? Out of which 3 strings form a cycle, But the other two strings are also connected to the cycle, but they are not part of the cycle. Like, but they are connected. So
Okay,
there's a one
okay.
in the row.
Yes, right. Okay, so there needs to be, they should be the part of that circle, not even outside. So then the length will give the correct answer, and not the not the, if if there is a different component that is that can be considered, but it will fail in most of some of the cases. They need to consider the length. So the length of the cycle should also be equivalent to the number of strings in our array. Then only
Right.
it will be confirmed that the graph is a, the strings can form a circle, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Okay,
Since we are short on time, let's get started with the code.
sure thing.
Yeah.
So okay, so first of all, let me create a function to, or maybe it will take, I'm consider it as taking a vector of, okay, it's not taking, yeah, it's taking length of it. So I'm assuming I'm already getting the length of that particular array. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is to create my graph, then traverse over it. So let's create our graph first, and it will be a matrix of, initially I'll fill it with 0s only. Also, one question I have here is, all the strings are of same length or different? Like,
It can be of any length.
it can be of any length.
Different lengths also doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, that doesn't matter actually. Okay, so we have our graph here. Now I just have to fill this. Okay. Now, if my array is ith array, uh, first maybe array minus 1, and the length of the strings are also not same. Array ith equivalent to ith array percentage. So here I'm checking whether the last element of my ith string is equivalent to the first element of my jth string, if that's so, or array ith zeroth element is equivalent to similar condition. strings.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Acha, okay, you finish it and then I'll ask.
Yeah, sure. So I will first in jth size -1. Then in that case, we will fill our matrix with, yep. Yes. You can ask now.
Okay, so in a matrix, when matrix of ij is equal to 1, that means I is connected to j, right? Ith element is connected to the jth element.
Jth element, right.
Because if there is matrix of ij, there's also going to be a matrix of ji. It's a matrix, it's not adjacent, like even if that's adjacent.
Yeah, that's why I considered two. Okay, so you are saying, no, it doesn't mean that. Yeah, obviously, GI and both of them will be connected, right?
Wait. Why do you need the OR condition over there?
So, for example, if we have a case where B and B is same, it could be, if this could be A, then these two strings can be connected, and if this would be A, I would have checked for the first character of the last character of this and first of this. So then also they can be connected, no?
See, you are going through for loop, right? From 1 to n, from 1 to n. So if you right now you're checking if ith element is connected to jth element. For jth to ith, you're going to like see separately, right?
Yes, there will be a consideration for. I'm taking checking for each one of them. That makes sense. That condition is necessary.
Did I make sense? Like
yes, completely. So that would have just added more complexity to the if conditions. Eventually, it would have done the similar thing. I'm just adding more complexity to the if condition, which was not right.
No, actually, even now it is not right. You can take your time, 2 minutes, and think about it. There's no hurry.
So going through strings, this can be connected to the string. So the last character of it and the first character of the jth string can be connected. Yeah. Last character of first string. Yeah, this seems to this. Yeah, this looks fine to me.
Okay, see. You are checking the last character of ith element and the first character of jth element. That means you can connect I to j. You can connect the ith word to jth word. That does not mean that you can connect the jth word to ith word. So why have you written matrix of ji equal to 1? For j to I, in your for loop itself, there will be a time where your j will be I and your I will be j.
I felt it later when I had that. It was supporting this ji thing, right? So earlier I had written in a way that when jth last character and ith first character were also same, that could be connected, and then jith would be 1. So now that condition is removed, so that JIA connection should also be removed.
Correct. I hope this is clear now.
Yes. So we have our graph now. Now I need to traverse it to check whether we have a cycle or not. Simply, what I'll do a BFS, and with every I'll traverse through all the nodes, moving, and for each node, I'll do a BFS through the whole graph, and to check the cycle, I'll use that coloring approach where if at any point, if I'll see that uh, the current node and this adjacent node has the same color, then it means we have a cycle. Then I'll check for the length of that cycle. If the length of that cycle is similar to the array length, then I'll return true. Else I'll move to I'll move for the BFS approach across other nodes as well.
So you're using BFS. Why BFS or like why not DFS?
For at a particular moment, I will be checking for all the adjacent nodes uh, to see if since I'm using coloring approach, we can use DFS as well, but BFS is somewhat, I believe, it could be efficient or not. For every particular node, I'll be checking all the adjacent node at once, and if there is a color similarity, then there is a cycle. So since I'm checking for each and every node for a particular node, I believe BFS is the best approach to be considered here. And since I also want to count the length, so with every move, I'll increase my counter to 1. So that will also help here.
So are you saying BFS is more efficient than DFS in this case?
I can comment on it once I'll have the complete approach done.
Sure.
Yes. So now I'll be going through all the nodes for each one to make a visitor. So I'll create a queue first. Okay. Queue would have the okay, 1 second. ith element into it, and let me make a pair where I'm also taking in the color. So color could be 0, 1. So for initial, I'm using maybe 0 as a color.
Is that syntax right? Q of int comma int. Got it.
Okay. Now I need to Basically, this matrix is just for the navigation inside the matrix, the rows and columns. Now I need to if it's already visited. So visited is not taken care of yet. But do I need visited? If it's not visited, if it's already visited, that's a cycle. Okay. So for each array, each node through which I'm iterating, I also create a visited array of size n, which has size with 0.
Why do we need a visited array over here?
So, if I not keep a visited array, I might go to the just to check whether the other node is already visited or not to traverse across. Yeah.
Okay, you said you're using a coloring approach, right? So are you going to keep the color in the visited array?
No.
Then how are you coloring?
I'm coloring. I'm keeping the colors here in the queue. So
okay. So could you have could you have kept the colors in the visited array, or if you have the like?
One second. So then first. Okay. So if my current node is not visited, then I'll change its color. If it's already visited, I'll do something else. So if it's not visited, first of all, I'll add a color to it. That is current color equals to this color equals to whatever the earlier color was, 1 minus of it. That's 1 minus of current color. So if it will be a 0, it will remain 1. It will be a 1. If it will be a 1, it becomes 0. And then I add it to my queue. That is the current color I did some mistake here. There is we have the ith node. Then color is one thing, but the node that is guess there is some, I missed something here.
What is the problem?
Keeping a track of color, but I'm checking it's anywhere. I need to put the color. Oh, I guess visited array is not at all required if I can directly check the color of it.
We can optimize it later. Let's write the code. Let's finish the code and we can optimize it later.
Yeah, actually, I actually missed something there. Let me try to. So what I can do is I have a queue. I started with the vertex, then adding the adjacent vertex to it with some different color.
What is the thought process? What is the problem?
Actually, the color, so I'm traversing in a matrix, but I'm traversing a matrix. I should not hold my current color into the queue. I should keep the position J, then check. I'm a bit confused here.
Now, what is the confusion?
I'm working on it actually. So I have my queue. I entered. How should I? Where should I actually store my colors? So that is something I missed earlier. I should create an array of current color.
Why do you need that?
For each node of.
Why can't you keep it? Okay, two
in the
questions.
I can keep it in the visited also, but just renaming it. That's it. So I'll initialize it with -1 and I'm starting with a particular node, right?
So there is an outer for loop also. So I thought you had
That
done
is
that
for
because...
no, that is for traversing over each node. Each node that I have, that is each vertex of our graph 1 2 3 0 1 2 3 4 and
so you're starting a graph, you're starting a queue for each of the nodes. So I thought you
exactly.
are going to keep that as the first element. That is why the for loop is there.
No. So I need to, so basically I need to check for cycle with considering each node. So there could be a possibility that the cycle is starting from, okay, no, if the cycle is there, then I could start from any node, right? Right. So there is no requirement of, oh, yes, this could be an optimization later on, but yeah. There is a cycle, we don't need an extra for loop. We don't have to go through all of the vertices. So let's start with I comma 0 comma 0 0 node, and let me mark the current color to be 0. Net start traversing my we don't need, and if the current color of my temp dot first yeah, is similar to current color. That means we have we shouldn't that is so if it's -1, it's -1. Color of that particular node, the other node, that is the temp dot second. It is represented by temp dot second. If it's a -1, then I need to change its color and mark its color as first of all. So I have 1, 2, 0, 0.
Okay. What are you storing in the first value and what are you storing in the second value in the pair?
I'm storing
Color in the
the
second one.
index. No, I'm not storing the color. Actually, I now I'm storing the color into a separate array. Initially, for that particular node. Okay, so I'm confused about the other nodes. So, color the other node. So I have indices of the other node. Color of the other node is not matching, or it's -1, then we will update the color and store the new into our
Kushal, we are out of time. So if you could tell me itself, it's fine if you're not able to write the entire code. If you could explain to me itself what you're thinking, that would be enough. Because
what
this
I'm
is
trying to
actually a hard question. This comes under a hard question. So you can tell me what are your thought process, and we
no.
can
So
probably.
basically, what I'm trying to do here is, if I have a graph which has cycle, so for example, if we consider a graph here, A, B, which is connected to C, which is later on connected to again A. So when I'm assigning a color to A and doing a BFS across, moving from A, the current color is 0. The second node which is adjacent to it, all the nodes which are adjacent to A, I'll assign a color opposite to which is assigned to A. That is 1. So now A has color 0, B has 1. Later, I'll assign the opposite color to all the adjacent node of B, that is 0. Then I'll check, I'll then proceed further from C and check what is the color of its adjacent node if they're already visited. Okay, now I got the catch. I need to have a visited array as well to see whether, then only I will check. First, I need to check whether the other node is already visited. If it's visited, I'll check whether it has a color similar to it or not. If it's a similar color, then it means we are forming some cycle. If it's not, it means we are not forming a cycle yet. So this is how the coloring thing work.
Okay, one thing. So see, coloring, it can be used like for pipetite or when you are dividing it into two different sets altogether, right? When you are dividing your nodes. But here you majorly need the length of the cycle.
Yeah.
So why don't you color it to like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4? So like you could have colored A to 0, B to 1, C to 2. And then once you have reached like the length, right? Then you can see whether you can connect it back to 0. Don't you think so? That would be one way to do it.
But if I'll go with the BFS approach, then all the adjacent node will have the same number then. And that would be fine also. That would be fine also. Exactly.
That's
So,
just one approach. Like I don't see why here you have to do like alternate colors 0, 1, 0, 1. Like you
I'm
don't.
doing it just to basically check at some point if the colors match, and that justifies that we have a cycle in the graph.
Then you'll have to check the lens separately.
Right. Right.
Okay. Both the ways are possible, I think. So if you can quickly finish the code, we can probably get to feedback then.
I have my now I'm going to the other directions. This is fine. This is fine. Now, if my PQ is 0, that is, it's not visited, then I need to add it to my queue and also assign a color opposite to which node? To that node. Now, how will I that particular index. So which particular is it?
So when you're popping out from the temp itself, you will know the color, right? So in the temp, aren't you keeping the color?
No, I'm not. I'm keeping the indices of the node. So we have a matrix, right? We have a
Okay.
matrix. So I have I and J
Why
here.
do
I'm
you need to
starting with
keep like
for my BFS.
in the queue, the second element that you're keeping a pair, right? Why
Yes.
the second element can't be the color?
But then how will I traverse or how will I proceed with my BFS? I need I and J both, right? So accordingly,
Why
I
do you
will.
need I and J? Like for I, for then you can go through the matrix for like why do you need the second element?
I mean, to identify a position of an element in a matrix, we need both the coordinates, right? So, and then accordingly, I can proceed in all the four directions
Why do you need to proceed in four directions?
because I'm following BFS. So I need to check all the adjacent nodes, right?
See here you are using an adjacency matrix and not using like a normal matrix. Why would you want to go in all the four directions?
I mean, but my matrix is a normal matrix, a 2D array. So I need to uh, go in all the directions and check whether there is an element which is not visited or the way we traverse a matrix, right?
You are not traversing a matrix, it's an adjacency matrix. It is telling that ith is connected to jth element.
Yeah, right.
So why do you need to
Oh,
traverse in all the four directions?
uh, not half. My bad. Say agency matrix. Yep, exactly. My bad. I missed that thing. So initially we were doing it correctly where I have the zero start and then current color, which is fine. This is also fine. We don't even need this. Yeah, we can consider visited. We can, and we don't, do we need it? We don't need this.
Actually, Kushal, we are out of time. I think
Sure.
we understood. Let's get to the feedback part. Right? It has been more than an hour now. So Kushal, how was your experience as a candidate and interviewing for YouTube? How do you think you did? Do you have any feedback for me?
So yes, definitely. I mean, the the question actually forced me to think deeply about the approach and consider a lot of the topics simultaneously. That is a good thing. Secondly, you were giving me hints at regular intervals, which actually helped me identify where I'm going wrong. I was going wrong at some places. So the interview should be a discussion kind of stuff. We were having that particular thing during the whole process, and you were giving me hints in between, which actually helped me to go in the right direction and not deviate from going into the right direction, because else I would have wasted a lot of time in in random approaches or something. So those hints definitely helped. I When it comes to my approaches or my ability to dive deep into the question, I believe I need to improve upon getting onto the approach quickly. And yeah, that is all my feedback.
Okay. Uh, Definitely, like, yeah, things can be done in a much faster way. That I think both of us will agree. But the question is under a hard question. Now, it's a good question in the sense that it seems like a string question, but identifying itself that it's a graph-based question takes some time. I think the mock interview will be very helpful for the audience because they can see that, okay, it's a string question. How do you form a graph out of it? Firstly, you think of all the data structures. You started from linked list, then you thought of a trie. Then we thought, okay, we need to connect many strings to many other strings. Then we got into, okay, we have to form a graph. Now we have formed a graph. Then we discussed whether we need adjacency matrix or adjacency list. Then we discussed whether in the cycle, like do we have to see only the cycle or do we also have to see the length? Then we discussed how are you going to check the cycle
Detect
part?
cycle.
Yeah. Then we discussed whether we have to use DFS or we have to use BFS. So the question does, cover a lot of aspects to it, a lot of questions to it. So to be able to do such a question, you have to be extremely fast, and you should be able to communicate very, very fast, right?
Yes.
So this is definitely not a question that will be asked in a lot of companies. It can be asked. Uh, Obviously, the expectation is to do much better. But when was the last time you gave an interview? Like
It's 2 years, more than
exactly.
2 years,
Yeah.
2.5 years back.
Right. So I think that's the importance of mock interviews for sure, right? Because the more mock interviews that you give, you definitely get into more practice and you are much, much faster. But I think this will be a very helpful video in general for the audience to be able to understand that, okay, you have to think in a lot of ways and you have to think a lot of edge cases, especially in terms of graphs. You can't, like, I like that, you didn't just randomly, like, just went ahead that, okay, I'll use an adjacency matrix. I tried to confuse you. Which one is better? You gave me reasoning that, okay, matrix takes up more space, but it is easier to traverse. Like, I agree that adjacency list can get a bit confusing if you start writing. So as an interviewer also, I was like, okay, let it be because, you already don't have enough time. And in terms of BFS or DFS also, you did not just went like, no, BFS is better only. You went like, I'll think about it. I'll let you know. Because yeah, you cannot say that BFS is a better approach or DFS is a better approach. It depends on how your graph is, right? How
Yes.
many nodes are connected to the other nodes. If it's a very dense graph, then yes, BFS is better. If it's a very
Right.
sparse graph, then no, right?
BFS.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, right.
Yeah, all
So
in all. Mhm.
yeah, so it's good that you did not like, just randomly throw away things, like throw away sentences. Although you were taking a lot of time to think about it, I really appreciate that you were not saying any random stuff. You were putting thought into it. You were not like randomly agreeing. Like if I want to confuse as an interviewer, I can confuse you. I think PFS is better. What do you think? But you did not give into that thing, right? So that's a good candidates at least uh, value or a characteristic. Definitely things can be done better, but I think that's the case for all the interviews. But this was a good mock interview for everyone. Yep.
Yeah, all in all, it was a great experience, and I got to know where I lagged, obviously. And yeah, I'm happy that I was able to get to a point that I can at least share. I was not able to code it completely, but what I am trying to do, I am able to convince, and what I convey, and how the question can be solved.
It takes a lot of guts to firstly come and do such an interview. Secondly, even when you haven't given the best that you could, you are still ready to, showcase it the true self that, okay, here's what I did good and here's what I did bad. That will be the case for everyone. So definitely kudos for that. And I really like your attitude towards that, what, I gave an interview. It's fine. I do mistakes. That happens with everyone.
Okay.
So thank you so much for coming and doing this. It means a lot.
Thank you.